On this video, we'll go into my first impressions of Assetto Corsa Evo, and mind you, this is still an early access game. I made sure I got it on launch. It was a little rocky at first, that first day, but in general, from what I've seen in the first couple of updates, I haven't gotten to 0.15 just yet, but in general, what I've seen from the updates is encouraging. It's a nice starting point. It's not necessarily a game that you're going to spend tons of time in exactly right now, but it's something that will give you a little taste for what those driving dynamics will feel like already right off the jump. Something that I haven't had an experience with since playing a game like this is essentially just hopping in without having touched any force feedback settings. I still haven't tweaked any, because out of the box it felt really nice on my Thrustmaster T300 RS. I couldn't believe it, actually, because there were certain things that I definitely was getting as feedback in the wheel, losing grip, regaining it. Certain cars are, just their stock counterparts being able to just initiate a drift accidentally and be able to hold it, or, moments where you're in the past losing traction and you start sliding, or, you start fishtailing, and there's a lot of times when when you've lost it. But it felt really nice to know that there was definitely some dynamic I felt of being able to regain the traction through counter steering and being able to time things properly. I think the game looks really great. I played around with it in 4K. I think in general the DLSS optimizations probably need a little work, as they mostly do in new games. I find that I get enough frames when I'm playing. I've tweaked around quite a bit with settings, and there's definitely a comfortable range that I'd like to be in. But there's definitely moments where I'm like, oh, let's see how far I can push this one. Can I go even further? And it surprises me sometimes, but keep in mind, if you are playing with weather conditions, you will definitely see a difference in dynamic versus static weather. It feels really cool when you get a chance to be a part of something from the beginning and contribute to a project made by a small team that's dedicated. Kunos has been doing a great job. I mean, to keep a game alive for a modding community is a pretty remarkable thing. So I'm really hoping that they follow through with promises, and hopefully they build a nice foundation for the modders to work on. I know that's what all of us are hoping for. Going through settings menus is, I would say, pretty limited right now. I spend most of the time in the graphics settings just trying to tweak things. There's a couple of new things that I'm not necessarily used to that I feel may have to get explained to the players from Kunos, because they're not giving us quite a bit of understanding with some of the graphic settings, like the experimental sim shadows and things like that. Like, I'd like to know what difference that makes, or the static level of detail, like all those things versus the standard settings. Once they gave us the selection of cars, it's a nice little starter pack. I got a chance to try things that I normally would pick. This little main menu where you get to see the cars sitting in a little concrete area or wherever you choose. It's pretty cool, where you get to adjust the lighting and, you know, change your view angle of the car. It has really become a downright pretty game to look at. The car models are incredible. I gotta say that it's probably as close as I've ever seen with accuracy. You know, being in the cockpit feels really good. I love the clusters and the dashboards that are interactive in these cars. Some of them will let you choose different drive modes, and, you know, if you have it set up where, you know, you have to, you know, push a start for ignition, it's a pretty cool extra step that brings a little bit more of that simulation realism. Being able to turn a car on, you know, being able to stall out cars, you know. Those are things that, the little things that do matter and really do set the difference between you playing Forza or Gran Turismo and Assetto. Well, for right now, there are definitely some things that are not quite right so far, and they have to work on these, like VR. I have yet to have a successful session in VR. It seems to be coming through like one eye for me, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. It's a very weird sensation. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel right. So I'm assuming that the Quest 2 needs to be optimized, or in some way the game needs to be optimized for VR. I am hearing that some people may be getting in and they're able to view the game. I haven't heard anyone say what I was saying about this, where I feel like I'm not getting it in both of my eyes. It's a completely uncomfortable experience right now using a Quest 2. I'm not sure if other people with Quest 2s have been able to get through, but I have yet to have a good time with it in VR. I'm gonna just make sure I just take some time, let them do their thing. VR is probably not their biggest priority right now, so I'm not gonna worry too much about that. As they make these updates, we'll definitely circle back and we'll look at new features that they've added, because I'm sure that now in the newer update that I saw that downloaded recently, it seems like they've got the Academy and some of the other features are open. So at some point I will revisit and record and share my thoughts. Definitely like the Lotus Emira. I think it's a good looking car. Really feels nice to be inside of. Nice platform. So for now, I've really kind of just messed around with the practice mode. Not too serious. Just wanted to kind of get a feel for the settings and see the game perform at a decent level. I think I'm on this might be 1440p that we have this one set to. Cool thing is I am seeing that they have included the option for you to create presets for your graphics, which is very helpful and something that I was doing in the original Assetto Corsa. I will not lie to you. Every time I hop into Assetto Corsa Evo in its early access state, it really just makes me want to play the original Assetto, since everything that I need and want from that game is there. It works. I have no issues with it. I can play VR. I don't have to play VR. This is still very early. We got to give Kunos some time. Good developers need a little time. And this is unfortunately how things work now in video games. You're now a part of the development process. That's what early access is. So by participating and by, contributing feedback, this is what allows them to set and finalize the game by the fall. So it is important. I think that people should give it a chance if they already love Assetto Corsa. This is a good chance to speak up, voice an opinion, because they are looking, they are watching Steam and all of that. They are looking at the comments, because of course, if you're trying to make a game better, you want to find a consensus, and I have to assume any good developer is got a team that is highly focused on what the comments are saying. I'm sure that there's certain things that they need to prioritize, because you can't take on everyone's whims or listen to everyone's weird comments or whatever, but there's a certain level of you can find a direction that you need to go in based on how the people are feeling. So yeah, like one thing I did notice, like in the replays, I've had issues at times where the UI for the pause and playback bar doesn't really actually disappear. I'm not sure if it's only because I would record all of this in OBS and it's like full screen, and so I have no idea. I wonder if it's because I'm full screen and not windowed, or who knows. But that's definitely something I noticed. A little annoying when you want to record or replay. I messed around with all the camera angles and, just get an idea of just all the things. There are definitely things that, you become accustomed to from the modded version of Assetto Corsa, and then you have to understand that, like, oh yeah, the reason why you like certain things is because it was a mod, and that this is directly from Kunos, so it's not necessarily like going to resemble what you've been playing. So that's one thing that you should temper your expectations for, because I feel like a good number of people here haven't actually played Assetto Corsa as a regular game without mods before actually modding it. So that's maybe a true testament just to what they built as a foundation and a platform for people to modify a game. It's that good that there's no point in just having the base game. So if this game becomes that, I feel like this could be amazing, and you will have to build a rig for that, that's for sure. I can only imagine what the mods will feel like on a platform like this. So, things were already incredibly robust in terms of space, and I mean, my Assetto folder was like 700 gigs at one point. So it's, you know, I'm a little afraid at like how much I might need to maybe buy another hard drive just for this shit once mods start kicking. But I don't know, I have this fear also, like, that they just ignore modders and it won't ever happen, because I don't know if I've heard them say a word about the modding community just yet. So it, you know, they could be just keeping it under wraps for now, because it's, you know, you don't want to give that community something bad. So that is I'm sure a very, very delicate point in development. But yeah, will say that for what it's worth, I've had so much fun in Assetto Corsa that it was a no-brainer to give this company my money. I would do it again gladly. I see the potential in the game, and I think it's important, if you're a fan, you give it a chance. You give them time. Understand that early access really is early access. But for what it is, you know, this isn't Competizione where they're using Unreal Engine. They're building their engine for this. They've been working at that. So I would have to say that that is definitely worth a deeper look to anyone who's saying, oh, it's the same thing as Competizione. It's like, it can't be. Completely different engines at play here. I've played Competizione. It definitely does not drive the same way as this game, 100%. So, and Assetto Competizione, that was something I definitely had to tweak feedback out the box. So this, I haven't touched that at all. So, you know, keep all that in mind. I'm sure that there'd be things that I'd love to tweak later, but for right now, like, out of the box, I felt good with it. Give it a chance if you got some hard drive space. Keep in mind, you know, it might be a little bit better towards the end of the spring or summertime, or if you want to wait till fall, it'll be definitely a much different game by then, I can tell you that. But for right now, definitely enjoyable. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10 for where it is right now, and that's pure on potential. I think that if you're a real one on Assetto, you know what you're gonna get, and you're gonna be happy about that. Alright, until next time, enjoy and keep on gaming, guys. This is Lucy's World.